I'm super excited to get into this town hall. I shall be your solstice hostess with the mostest, thanks to all of the hard work that the Hyvä team's been doing behind the scenes. We have so much to share with you today. And now that we've all had a moment to settle in, let's get to it. Welcome everyone to the Solstice Town Hall. As always at Hyvä there's been a lot going on. And today we're shining a very sunny light on everything that we've been up to, so I hope you're excited. This is what we're going to be covering today. So we'll start with the Hyvä update, looking at the business, the ecosystem and where we've been showing up. Then we'll move into partnerships. We've got lots of numbers to show you, some updates to our Hyvä portal and lots of other exciting things going on. And then we've got the big product update, which I'm super excited for. We'll be covering all of our products, Hyvä Commerce, Enterprise, Theme, Checkout, UI, and so much more. It's all very exciting. And then we're going to go beyond the browser, which is exactly as suspicious as it sounds, where we'll be handing over to Willem at that point. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And then of course we'll finish with a live Q&A. So with that, I'm going to place you in the extremely capable hands of our VP of Marketing and Strategy, Tien Lan, for the Hyvä update.
Hi, everyone. Just to start with, we want to celebrate with our community. So there are three things we are very proud of. So the first one is recognition from industry specialists in the Netherlands, e-commerce. So it's like a e-commerce, media, magazine, industry experts. And the reason why we are very proud is because we entered for the first time as number one in the commercial software solution category. And this one is very special because the methodology for this award this ranking is very democratic. We didn't apply, we didn't pay to play. It's just this institution going around in the Netherlands asking people in the industry, who are you working with? How do you rank them? And we got 6 stars out of 7, which is a very rare recognition. And yeah, we just found out in the press. So yeah, very happy about that. Thank you. We are very grateful for all the Dutch partners who have probably nominated us, talked about us sincerely, openly, honestly, and then yeah, it means we're doing something nice, something great for the community. So we hope this can extend internationally if there was such a methodology for other rankings and awards. The second thing we are very proud of is our expansion. We continue to grow at a very fast pace. So over 7,600 live sites. Number one is Netherlands. So I thought it was plateauing, but it continues to grow. So over 1,700 live sites. So that's huge. US 1,200, and we don't have a presence there. So we do whatever we can. But yeah, very grateful for the support of our partners, and we hope to do a lot more next year. And almost a tie. So not like a football. Germany and the UK very close in the 700s. So yeah. Congratulations to all the partners who help us build all these amazing stores in various big markets. And the third thing we are very proud of are huge logos. So we are great for SMBs, mid-markets, but we also are adopted and trusted by a bigger number of huge recognizable brands. So Paul Bakeries in the UK launched with Hyvä. Sony Spare Parts also launched with Hyvä. Some amazing internationally known brands like Levi's and Crocs launched in some countries, like Greece, for example. And Buff, who you probably use for your ski gears, launched us in their international website with 34 storefronts, like in every country. It would be us in various languages. So yeah, very proud of that. And more to come. So we can see that licenses have been ordered for Acer, Williams F1. So our team loved that. And Renault, the French car company who has a swag store. So they're selling like sneakers for 150 euros with their brands and so on. So yeah, very proud of that because it's also part of a big advertising company. So it means we can do a lot with nice design and amazing branding. In terms of events, so we continue and support all the Magento, mid-Magento events in the world, of course, supporting the community. But what we've been trying to do for the last 2 years is also be present at big expos, e-commerce expos, so we can promote the Magento and Hyvä brand outside of our bubble. So last year we did Werkwinkelfachdachen and the Mexico in Germany. And this year, Werkwinkelfachdachen again, and Ecom Expo London. So this one is happening in September. It's going to be huge. We have a massive booth with 8 or 9 partners, 80, 90 square meters right at the front. So it's really us saying to the UK, hey, we're here. We are a very strong platform and brand. And there are a couple of kiosks that are still available if you want to partner with us and benefit from all that exposure and activities, marketing activities that we're doing for the UK. Feel free to reach out to us. In terms of events, so one thing that we've been updating is helping you know where we are in the world at any point in time. So if you go to hyvä.io/events, then you will see our events calendar. You see who's going where, what dates. So you kind of know, if we're available to help you out with other events. But also what we've added is a link where you can submit events where you'd like us to participate. So we can, at a glance, know, what you're asking for, the dates, the location, if you need a speaker, sponsorship, and it make it easier for us to make decisions and help you out. One last thing that I was asked to talk about is Hive. So last year we had like a new type of format, events format with Molly, and it was in London called Hive, mainly for partners to showcase the amazing things they've been building. And that had a huge impact. People loved it. So we are bringing it back, but to Germany this time. And so it will be the day before Mid-Magento Germany. So very soon we'll let our agencies know that they can submit their case, showcase how innovating, how a great time to market, good conversion they can achieve with their merchants. And we'll have a panel judging all these projects, and we'll be handing out awards. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Thank you, Tianlan. I am really excited for all the events that we've got coming up in the remainder of this year. Next up, we're moving on to partner updates. So I'm going to hand over to the lovely Tom, our partner marketing manager, to share what's been happening across our partner network.
Thank you, Becky. Well, as I know, there will probably also be some non-partners watching. I will try to keep this part relatively short so we can jump to the product updates ASAP. Well, over the past few months, we have released several new sales enablement resources. We have launched a new case study directory where agency partners can showcase their projects. Visitors can filter by country, product, platform, and more, making it a great way to highlight your expertise, showcase your work, and demonstrate the brands that you work with. We have also created a new content to help position open source against SaaS solutions, also known as the big green giant. This includes an article on our blog, a video pitching against Shopify, and we're also currently putting the finishing touches on a total cost of ownership calculator. And then finally, we have updated our press kit with a new marketing leaflet and an updated merchant presentation that you can use to introduce merchant to Hyvä and explain what we do. And you can find this all at hyvä.io/presskit. And then now for some updates on our partner and network. We have passed the huge milestone of 500 agency partners, and we have welcomed 31 new agencies this year, which is obviously amazing. And a big part of this growth is supported by Hyvä Portal. If you haven't seen it yet, we have completely revamped and expanded the former customer dashboard that you used to log into hyvä.io. This is still the same system, so there's no login required, just so you know. I think we have a slide coming up that shows you the way the portal looks. We simply replaced the old annual Google form that we used to calculate partner points and determine partner tiers with a more automated, transparent, and user-friendly experience. And well, this is how it looks. And through Portal, you can connect clients who purchased their own licenses, register contributions, which can be marketing contributions as case studies, blog posts, events, landing pages, whatever contribution you do to the Hyvä ecosystem can be listed there, as well as certified developers. And as was shown in the screenshot before, track the partner points. There's also a progress bar now that shows your current partner tier and tells you exactly what you need to do to reach the next one. So that's amazing. And a lot of hard work went into this. So far, more than 200 agencies have submitted over 1,250 contributions, which is obviously fantastic. But with over 500 partners now, many agencies still haven't started using the portal. And keeping your information up to date is essential to maintain your current partner tier and potentially qualify for an upgrade. If you don't meet the requirements for your current tier by the end of the year, your partner tier will be adjusted accordingly in Jan. So that's very important to be aware of. But luckily, to wrap up this section about the partner updates, I would also like a big round of applause for the first partners who have met these new requirements and earned a partner tier upgrade. So very well done, and hopefully there's way more partners to become into. Oh, there we go.
There we go. See, look, I got to test out the sound effect buttons now and everything. So yeah, congratulations to all those partners, and thank you, Tom, for giving me the opportunity to use the clap sound effect for the first time. So yeah, look forward to more sound effects, guys, now that I've found the buttons. And who is ready for some product updates? Woo! I need another sound effect now for this. But yes, it's so chunky and exciting that me and John have decided to tag team these product updates. But to start things off, I am going to hand you over to our VP of Product and Partner, John.
Thank you very much, Becky. Yeah, as you said at the start, it's the first time we've had releases across all of our products kind of on the same day. So yeah, just confident this is going to be a good way forward in how we do our releases from now on. But yeah, it's been a real team effort to try and coordinate all of this together for the same day, not just from the technical development side, but all the way through to the marketing, commercial side. And even as I was looking at our Slack notification earlier for the update, the amount of contributions that we've had from people as well is really nice to see. So yeah, we've got a mix of new features, some other things that are coming soon, and a few surprises sprinkled in along the way today. We're not going to do any kind of like big deep dives or in-depth videos. It's just going to be high-level overview of everything, because there's quite, as Rebecca said, there's quite a lot to get through. But yeah, there's lots of videos and more that'll be coming soon, and we've got the Q&A at the end. All right, to start with then, before we go into the actual features, we've kind of got a big update on our kind of core product offerings. So we've listened to feedback both externally and internally that at times it can be a bit confusing for merchants to know what products and licenses they need, depending on whether they're on Magento Open Source, Adobe Commerce, or what needs they have. So we've taken the decision to try and simplify our product line into two key offerings. So most likely, I hope most of you have already heard about Hyvä Commerce, which is our full product suite that combines all of our new features, as well as theme, checkout, and UI. And that's staying as it is, but it's now purely focused on Magento Open Source. And Enterprise, Hyvä Enterprise, was previously billed as a compatibility layer for Adobe Commerce, so making things compatible with all the Adobe Commerce features, the B2B suite, product recommendations, live search, all those kind of things. But now we're bringing that into a full product bundle, so it sits alongside Hyvä Commerce, and if you're an Adobe Commerce merchant, then Hyvä Enterprise is essentially the equivalent of Hyvä Commerce. It contains all of those features plus all the Adobe Commerce compatibility, as you can see on this slide. So yeah, all of those features, whether it's Hyvä CMS, admin dashboard, the menu builder, media optimization plus, like I said, the theme, the checkout UI, and as well as Hyvä POS. Once it's available, you get 2 terminals with a Hyvä Commerce or Enterprise license. Plus, every new feature that we release will be available in both Commerce and Enterprise. And the only difference, like I said, is Commerce is focused on Magento Open Source or MageOS if you use MageOS, and Hyvä Enterprise is focused on Adobe Commerce and contains all the Adobe Commerce support as well.
Is it maybe best to already clarify what you might get to, but the original products stay in place? We're not taking out Hyvä UI, we're not taking out Checkout. You can still buy those separately if you don't want to have the full bundle. So no worries.
Yes, correct. So we've got the new PDPs launched right now. You can see the Hyvä Commerce and Hyvä Enterprise pages have had a nice refresh. But yeah, as Willem just pointed out, you might be able to see on the left-hand side of that slide our new main menu for products. Yeah, we've got our complete solutions, Commerce and Enterprise. But yeah, if you want to build your own, you can still buy Theme, Checkout, UI, and Hyvä POS once it's available on their own as well. All right, so with the new Enterprise bundle in mind, the first thing we've done is take our admin theme. It's had a little bit of a facelift. There's a few new logos and favicons and other bits and pieces in there. We're now flagging some of the features that we have in the menu with little icons, and we've tidied up the system configuration into product sections with little logos as well. And yeah, as you can see at the bottom of that slide, we now have a more purple enterprise variant for the admin theme. So whether you're on either of those products, you'll get the right theme that matches the product you have. All right, onto the front end and the storefront. New to Hyvä Theme and UI as of today. We have updated product detail pages. So we've completely reworked the product gallery. And the swatches. So both have now built PHP first. There's way less JavaScript. CLS is much improved. I mean, it's non-existent now. With pretty good reduction in the amount of HTML that we ship with it, and it's better optimized for LLMs as well. But yeah, it looks a lot nicer. It's a lot easier to work with, and there are also UI variations for both the gallery and I believe the swatches as well. And sticking with UI, but also on the CMS side, we've now released a Google Maps component as a UI component, but also as a Hyvä CMS component. So like the page builder version, you can add multiple markers. The biggest differentiator that we've got, other than being more performant and easier to work with, is that within the tooltips, like you see there, you can actually add any kind of text and image content that you like. So you've got more freedom to do what you want. So yeah, that's available now. And you may have noticed from the screenshot before the Google Maps one, we've actually got some slightly looking different product imagery. You'll notice that maybe throughout the rest of these updates. We've actually got our own sample data that we've created. It's called Koti, which is Finnish for home. So it's got a home and garden theme. You can install it either alongside the Luma sample data or have it completely replaced. It's just something you can install via the command line, like the Luma sample data. It ships with the Hyvä Theme module, and it's completely free and open source to use. The other thing I should add is obviously it's just a bit nicer, more modern, looks great. The Luma sample data was a little bit tired, to be honest. It's over 10 years old. So yeah, nice fresh sample data.
The sample data is beautiful. Obviously, I've been playing a lot with it in making demo videos. So yes, it's a refreshing demo environment change indeed. So I'm going to take over for a little bit now, John, because I'm really excited about this one. This is bringing Hyvä CMS into a part of the store that is really important, the product and catalogue content. So yes, you can now use Hyvä CMS to manage richer content on product and category pages. So for example, instead of having a simple category description field, you can now add images and make it all beautiful like that demo video just showed you. It's going really fast because We, like I say, are not including full demos in here, but there are going to be full demos released very shortly. So you'll be able to dig into all of these new features. These are perfect for creating things like landing pages, adding additional calls to action to category pages and product pages. It's really useful that you can do this now. And it also incorporates all of the Hyvä CMS workflows. So you can save, you can have drafts, you can actually view it as you're editing it, which is nice. You can schedule changes. It works for multi-view, and everything good about Hyvä CMS is now available on products and categories. So yeah, it's going to open a lot of doors for merchants, we believe, which is just so good. Next up is another feature I've been really enjoying playing with over the last couple of weeks. It's templates and snippets. So these are all about creating content faster and more consistent. So templates are obviously useful when you've got full layouts that you want to reuse, category pages, product content, even menu layouts, any pattern that your team wants to reuse often. So instead of starting from a blank page, you can start from that template. And snippets are very similar, but they are smaller. So they're for reusable sections like promotional banners, product highlight blocks, FAQ sections. So yeah, where templates are the whole cake, snippets are a really useful slice of said cake. So yeah, the big benefit here is teams can obviously move faster without everything becoming inconsistent.
Just before I jump onto instant components, I think now that we've got the map and the two things you've just shown, template, snippets, and product and category attribute support, that's every final thing kind of ticked off the list in terms of parity with Page Builder. Obviously, Hyvä CMS offers a lot more on top as well, but yeah, that should be everything that now done. Via instance components are an interesting one, a very cool addition. They're definitely one for the power users, but yeah, they're a great addition to CMS Toolkit. So you can now create your own components or content types in the live view editor in the admin panel without the need for a developer. So you can select the fields that you want to include. You can add some basic markup and some styles around those fields, and you can save that, and you can add those components from the sidebar like any other component. So it's really cool, really powerful. So yeah, I think we'll see some nice stuff with that. Next up, we've got I'm not going to cover all of these, there's too many to go through, but we have spent a lot of time refining and improving the editor experience and improving the UX and the performance. There's so many. We've now got a navigation bar so you can quickly jump between open documents that you're working on. We've replaced the HTML code editor and the WYSIWYG. You can now add proper variables and proper links with inside text areas. You can now customize the sidebar, make it bigger, put it on the left-hand side. Got full drag and drop support of moving components now, and you can just click a button to duplicate. There's different views. There's the favorite, so you can favorite your own components, and that's per admin user. We've got improved import-export, keyboard bindings, and yeah, so much more. That's and we've also got a few other minor improvements, but I thought they'd be worth mentioning because they've been quite heavily requested. You can now translate button links and text as well as image alt text. It's a big one that we've been asked for. We've also worked on the translation kind of sidebar UX, and there's loads of CMS Tailwind JIT improvements that have been made under the hood as well. So that's it for the Hyvä, like the main Hyvä CMS side. But then next announcement that we have is
I do actually have a sound effect I would like to use right now.
Oh, go on. Ta-da. Great.
Did you enjoy that?
I did. Yeah, so Menu Builder, it's been in beta for a while. I'm sure many of you might have seen it already, but yeah, it's generally available today. Now you can use the power of Hyvä CMS to build beautiful menus in minutes. We've got many different menu types available to you out of the box, things like mega menus, drill down menus, footer menus. You can create either combined or separate menus for mobile and desktop. You're not limited to just putting categories in, of course. You can put any links in you like in any order. But you can also import categories if you wish to. So there's a good way to get started. and so much more. And with it being built on Hyvä CMS, you can add any rich content that you want, like banners. You've obviously got the power of drafts, being able to share previews with colleagues, schedule content, version history, and everything else that's great about CMS, and extensible as well. So if you want to build new menu types for your agency or your merchant, then you can. All right, next up we have media optimization. So if you haven't come across this before, the simplest way to explain what it is it's our solution to stop that 10 megabyte hero banner from ever being served to the storefront. It's about automatically resizing and converting images across the storefront to modern formats, reducing file sizes by a considerable amount, and obviously improving performance. So we released it earlier this year, but today we've got a few new updates. The biggest one is probably the queuing system. So previously images were resized. If they weren't already resized, they would be resized on page load, which meant for the first person that visited the page, you might have a little bit of a delay waiting for the images to be resized. Now we have a queuing system, so the first person will get the page straight away, but with the uncompressed images then get updated in a queue in the background, and then all subsequent requests and users will get the new smaller images. Next up we have XML declarations, and what that is, you might be able to kind of get a bit of an idea from the screenshot, is gives developers control to decide if they want more variations of images in different sizes for different breakpoints. So we've hooked this up to Hyvä CMS for things like banners to provide even more variations of image sizes, so we can serve even more images at the right size and hopefully improve performance even more. But you can it's fully extensible. You can add as many as you like and need for your projects. Finally, we've done a bit of work to make sure working with abstracted file systems like CDNs works, and we've had a number of performance enhancements as well, including some community contributions. And I'll hand back to you now, Becky, if that's all right, for admin dashboard.
I love this feature so much, and as someone who is in the Hyvä Commerce admin often, I feel like it's a really underrated feature, but it really does make a huge difference to daily workflows. And it's becoming even more flexible and even more useful for all kinds of different people who are inside the admin. So we've now got views management, so you can create a different dashboard view for different focuses. So you might have, like what I created here, a content management dashboard, with different CMS widgets, which are also new. But you could have lots of different views, of management views, sales views, etc. And you can have them be private, so only you can see them, or you can share them amongst your team. And you can also limit them by role as well, which is really, really nice. So if you just want your sales team to be able to see a certain dashboard, or just your content team, etc. And yes, we have added loads more widgets in this update, including ones specifically for Hyvä CMS. So you can see recently edited products, categories, CMS blocks, pages, menus, and scheduled releases as well, which I think is a really, really nice one. You can see what's coming up. It's super useful for any teams who are actively working on content. And there's also lots of new commercial and operational and general life improvement widgets that are coming in too. So things like abandoned carts, including guest carts, customer totals, top coupons, and installed module versions, which I think is a really nice one too. So you can see and make sure that you're on the latest version of the modules that you've got installed. But the possibilities with Admin Dashboard are completely endless, which is super exciting.
Yes, and yeah, just a quick note, we've also got a new API layer, which is especially useful for extension vendors, but maybe also for agencies and maybe like accelerator type offerings. So now with this new abstraction, we've moved to a more composition-based approach, and it means that you can now bundle any widgets with your main extensions without having a hard dependency on Admin Dashboard or Hyvä Commerce. So you don't need to manage multiple packages or modules in order to offer Admin Dashboard widgets. So that's all of the main stuff that's available and fully released today. Although I should say that we've also had releases for the minor release for the checkout. We've had updates to all of our AI modules, the CMS Tailwind JIT modules, as mentioned earlier with the CMS, And we've had a load of enhancements and bug fix releases for all of our Adobe Commerce and B2B compatibility packages as part of our new and the older enterprise offering. Just a reminder before we move on that obviously all of these features are now part of enterprise as well as commerce. I think we can now have a quick look at what we've got available in beta. Most of these are coming soon. However, the first one is available right now, and that is the Magewire V3 powered version of our checkout. You can get your hands on it right now. It is in beta. We want to get it out there for people to get their hands on and test and see how they get on with it before we tag a stable version. We spent a lot of time. For the less technical, Magewire is the tool, the underlying framework that powers our checkout. It's what gives us many of the performance improvements and enhancements. This latest version adds request bundling, which dramatically reduces the amount of interactions the checkout has to make with the server to update data. So yeah, a lot of time has been spent ensuring it's going to be as backwards compatible friendly as possible, and obviously testing all of the kind of key payment service providers, integrations and more. So yeah, encourage as many of you as possible to get your hands on it and give us some feedback. Be much appreciated so we can get it fully released as soon as possible. And then after Magewire, we've also got some, again, kind of more under the hood updates coming for category attribute improvements. So this is the address attributes in shipping and billing address forms. And this will also include better Adobe Commerce support for all the different kind of custom customer attributes that you might have. So that's checkout. Next, we've got email templates. So we gave a very brief demo of this at Hoover Developers Paradise, but we're hoping to have a beta version in your hands very soon. So this is completely revitalized. Email templates have always been pretty painful to work with in Magento in the past. So having gotten my hands on and played around with this, it's night and day the amount of things you can now do super quickly and easily. So yeah, obviously just Hoover CMS in itself in terms of real-time previews and all the drafts, published, scheduling, but being able to preview in different clients, you can see how your emails look in things like Gmail, Outlook, Apple Mail. You can even get analysis on if you've added anything that's not going to be compatible with that email client. You can send test emails to yourself, and you're seeing real data, not just placeholders. So yeah, it's I think one key thing I'd say is even if you're not ready to use Hoover CMS on your storefront yet, you can still make use of this once it's available in the admin panel and drastically improve your email content. Next, we have link products. So these are like configurable products, but more SEO friendly. So you can create groups of link product variants, but each one retains its own product detail page and therefore a URL. You can use drop downs or swatches, much like configurable products, and with our new swatches as well, you can make use of those on the product detail page. But yeah, this isn't a new product type, so it's not like a configurable product or a bundle product. It's actually just a grouping of products, and you can mix any product types together. So you could do things, for example, rather than have both colors and sizes as configurable options, you could use link products to separate your colorways and have a dedicated URL for each color variant, and then keep the sizes as configurables. For example, you could even create linked grouping with bundled products. The possibilities are almost endless in terms of what product types you'd like to mix and match. So that one will be, again, very soon from a beta point of view. And then lastly, on the beta side of things, we have category merchandisers. This is one that's been asked for quite a lot, maybe relatively simple, but yeah, we now have the ability to drag and drop products in the right order in the admin panel in categories, no more entering numbers into input fields and then getting them all lost. So yeah, you've got full drag and drop support. You can also use keyboard to navigate. You can search for the products that you want to include, and we've also got per user settings for whether how many columns to show, for example. as well as how disabled and non-visible products are handled. And we spent a bit of time getting that right, given that the complexity of Magento means that you can change status and visibility at website and store view level. And the other thing I should note on this one, it is both Adobe Commerce and Elastic Suite friendly. If you use either of those solutions, this one can easily just be disabled in favor of those. So if you use those solutions, there's no need to be concerned. All right, and then final product updates are what's on our roadmap. So these are things that some of them we've started work on, some of them are new that we've never talked about publicly before. But yeah, as a reminder, when we're at Hyvä Developers Paradise, we mentioned that we're working on some AI content generation tools for Hyvä CMS, so text and image generation as well as components. So that's still underway. We've also got updates coming for Enterprise for the B2B, as well as new layouts and customer kind of login and register workflows for our checkout. But yeah, some things that we haven't spoken about before. First off is what we're calling our customer retention and engagement suite. So this is store credit, gift cards, loyalty points, and RMA returns. And the idea behind these is to provide a Hyvä native solution that's going to work, as part of Hyvä Commerce and Enterprise, but also hook up nicely with our POS offering. But again, if you already use an existing solution for any of those things, they will still be able to work with Hyvä POS. And then, on top of that, we're looking to expand Hyvä CMS even further. Pages, blocks, menus, and emails wasn't enough. We are now wanting to add we're going to start with we've got an SEO suite that we have planned. So this is just tied purely to Hyvä CMS. So what quality of content you've got on a particular page, better control over metadata, being able to change content like metadata and URLs by store view as well. Along with that, we'll be looking at a blog as well, again, completely native to Hyvä CMS. We are working on a form builder, so being able to create forms with Hyvä CMS, and PDFs as well, so being able to manage PDFs like those that get sent with orders, also being managed with Hyvä CMS. So yeah, all of those things are kind of like, the best way to describe it is Hyvä CMS first and only, so they're going to be a fully integrated experience, and also to avoid kind of competing with the wider kind of Luma and Hyvä Open Source marketplace. They're just purely Hyvä CMS focused. There's also still a big full roadmap of other items. It's been updated just earlier today, so go and check out the roadmap on our website to see more. And I think that is all of the product updates done.
It sure is. We've flown through them, and yeah, it's exciting. We're going to have lots more details coming out. You'll be able to find deep dive into everything after this live stream. Don't leave now, because now we're going beyond the browser, which is beyond exciting. And to take us into this section is founder and creator Willem.
Yay! Let's talk apps. As you might have already seen, we announced our POS solution some months ago. We were maybe a little bit optimistic in our timeline in which we could launch a pilot version of that. So apologies to all that have been waiting for a follow-up on that. But today is a good day for news updates. The POS, a native point of sale for Magento. You are in control. You own the stack. You own your data, and I think that's an important aspect of combining online and offline sales as a Magento merchant. Middlewares are typically not great. Delays in stock synchronization, delays in price updates, fetching customer data through middleware, only one source of truth, with our native solution, I think it's it's a big improvement to that Magento is that source of truth. So let me just quickly, let's take 4 or 5 seconds per screenshot and jump through these. As a cashier, I can log in. There's multiple users. Every user has their own permission settings. So you can have a cashier, a manager, or an admin. So I log in. I have my dashboard. And this dashboard, the landing with all the action tiles, as you would expect from an iOS device or an iPad, you can tweak this. So you can hold the screen and then just drag any tile, add new ones, directly add a link to any product or a category that you often use, and even add a dummy product that's not available in Magento, which is linked to one SKU in Magento, but you can add any product title, price, and tag settings to a product if you have anything lying around in a store that you're not selling directly through Magento normally. So this is heavy customizable. Then you can, of course, browse the entire catalog. In this case, we're watching the Office products, just tapping them puts them into the cart, but of course there's full barcode scanner support that immediately adds products to the cart. We have a wide range of supported barcode scanners for that, which I'll come to later. Then when I proceed to checkout, you maybe saw you can also hold a cart. So if someone goes to the car, forgot their wallet or whatever, you can park it and then recall it later. Here you see I can select cash and I can enter the amount that the customer is handing me over. It calculates the change. Or if they only want to pay partially cash, you can click pay the rest by card. So you have split payment. And we've been working really hard to also implement pay by invoice, where you can select which payment method should be used in Magento to capture or to invoice. So that gears a bit more towards the B2B use cases. You can see create pickup and create shipment. So we're also implementing order in store and then ship it to the customer if it's an order or a reservation, so to say. And then when you've dealt with the payment, you see a couple of actions. One, you can see immediately that this order has been synchronized to Magento in the order number, so you know everything is well. If it fails, it will retry. If you are using a pro version and you're offline, it will just put it in a queue locally and then sync afterwards. And you can print a receipt. There's an auto print mode, but you can also print manually only after the customer has confirmed they want a printed receipt. Same goes for the terminal receipt, so you can pick whether you want to print a full receipt or just from the payment terminal or both. And you can even switch multiple printers by holding the tile down. If the main terminal printer is empty or not working, you can select one over network that another terminal is using. Email sends the receipt by email to the customer, and you can also view the QR, or you say, I want to hand it over to the customer. And if you have an iPad that you can twist around facing the customer, they can type in their own email address or scan the QR code. And this view is actually also available if you have a secondary customer-facing display. The customer would see the same thing. They can follow along what's placed in the cart and the totals, and then when they've ordered, they can just grab their phone, get the receipt online. You can see in the right screen on the iPhone, you get a full receipt detail on an online URL. You can save it. And even better, for this unified commerce experience, you can create a customer account online. So the customer, you're creating a relationship with this customer online, or they can attach it to their existing customer account. And of course, during checkout, you can also select any Magento customer that's already available, so they immediately get the sale data in their online account. You can watch back these receipts later, so you can look them up after the order has been placed. We have a concept of local receipts that are immutable. You're never allowed to change the data there, because a customer made a sale, they pay tax and everything. That's absolutely the source of truth. And then when it's synced to Magento, the same order data is taken over. But you can recall the data here and even print a QR code or hand it over to the customer again if you want to recall it. So from that sale detail, there's a couple more. If you go to the next one, you can resend an order or an invoice email from Magento with the first tile you see there. The second one is to view the receipt and print it again. And then a couple of extra features like a refund or a process return. And those sound similar. A refund doesn't make use of any RMA functionality. You typically use one of the two. The refund just creates a credit invoice, and the return is a full RMA experience, which you can see here. In the next. This is the full RMA experience that Adobe Commerce comes with, but we're also already implementing with MST, and we got a couple other providers that we've done the groundwork for, but that still needs to be tested. But the way that this works is that we create API bridges, which are they're agnostic to whatever module is running in Magento. We send the API request to Magento to create an RMA, and then this bridge module translates everything into Adobe Commerce. So it actually smashes all steps of an RMA together, because that's really cumbersome in Adobe Commerce by default, because it's the whole process. It takes 5-6 steps to actually process an RMA. In this case, a customer comes to the store, so you can immediately evaluate the product and the state and what needs to go back into stock. And if you want to give them a cash credit or pay back online, whether you want to restock the item or not, and to what stock it should be restocked, all of that is configurable and then synced to Magento with the native RMA solution that you choose. So you can build any bridge module. You create a provider following our examples for store credit, for loyalty points, for gift cards, and for RMA. And then you can view all your customers from your online store. You can see also here it pulls in the reward points from Adobe Commerce. And you can apply those in the cart, so people can also use their reward points in the store. They can gain points and they can cash in points via the POS. And a couple more actions here, viewing all the order data from the Meet Magento event last week. We already got some extra IDs for this screen, like showing what products the customer ordered previously, so you can see what size and what colors and everything. You get a bit more personal details about the customer while you're talking to them in store. So you can recall, well, last time you took a large, so maybe now you also want to try on the large first. We have stock management. You can use your barcode scanner to immediately increase stock by 1. You can select which source they should be added to, or you disable auto increasing, just scan and then manually click how many items should be added to the cart, to the stock. There's a transfer feature there as well, and you see in the top you can switch to, which means if you're taking something from the warehouse to the in-store stock, you can just scan them out and they're transferred from one stock to the other. Register status, so you open the cash drawer and you count it in the morning, and then you open the drawer, and at the end of the day you close it, or during the day you take some cash out, and you can run midday reports or end of the day reports where you can see how many cash is expected in the drawer, and these are fully tax compliant, also to prepare us for fiscal signing, something I will explain a bit more about. We have a reporting section where you can also see how many sales have been done today and different areas. Under stock, for example, you can see exactly which employee increased the stock and by how much, so you can find back, maybe find an error, you can see who made that fault. And then it would take a long time to go through all of this. There's loads and loads of settings for you to tune this entirely to how you want, enabling payment methods and disabling them, all your tax configuration, shipping configuration, rounding cash to 5 cents or 10 cents, which denominators you want to use in your drawer, like are you accepting bills of 100 or not, You can fully tweak what the receipts look like. You can add as many printers as you want, thermal printers or AirPrint printers or network printers. They're all supported. The settings, if you use the Pro version of the POS, all of these settings are coming from Magento. So that's fully broken into permissions, and you can set which configuration is allowed to be changed on the POS, or you can just lock all the settings so that the cashier, even a manager, wouldn't be able to change any of these settings. But more importantly, you can orchestrate all of your terminals per location. You can set all the receipt settings and everything, and the text settings, the store address, everything can be done from Magento. So the only thing you would need to do then on the POS is actually linking the hardware, because that's a physical connection. So you would only need to set up your barcode scanner and the printer and maybe the cash drawer, which is typically easy to do by manual. So what is it and why? The POS is a native Apple app. It runs on Macs, it runs on iPads, it even runs on iPhones. It has loads and loads of hardware support. We support pretty much all of the hardware that other major iPad POS systems support. So if you're currently using another iPad solution, the chances are really big that you can try this out without buying new hardware. You can already test your printer and everything. And everything is fully powered via Magento API. Your receipts are stored locally in encrypted iCloud directories, so that's handled by Apple. And otherwise, all of the data is directly linked through API to Magento, so no middleware. In terms of hardware, you can see different brands that we have for receipt printers, label printers. I didn't even mention, you can print product barcodes, QR, or just typical barcodes, also through the POS. We have wide support for these brands. We tested the ones in green physically. The other ones have been implemented, but we need actual confirmation that they work as expected before we can give them the green check to tell you, go ahead and buy these. The nicest equipment to use in this case, especially in receipt printers, take one with a USB-C connector, because that powers the iPad, it powers your cash drawer, and it's a really nice. You can even attach like a customer display through the star and the apps and interfaces, or you can pick another iPad to face towards customers as a second display. Molly terminals, all of their terminals are supported. Also the tap to pay by iPhone. So if you're just using your iPhone on a marketplace or whatever, you can use just your iPhone for the full checkout experience, including payment. And then we're planning support for other payment providers. That's a work in process. So in terms of features, we'll have a free version. You just download it from the App Store, and it's fully functional as a register. It works only through native API capability, so that means you don't need to install anything on Magento. You just connect to your store either via admin login or a token or the full OAuth authentication. You download the app, you configure it, and you can start selling. So that's a great way to get started, just to see if it works for you, and then you can decide where you might want to upgrade to the Pro version. So it has the full checkout experience, customizable dashboard, online order management, full hardware support, all of the stock management that I just showed, and the reporting, but it only supports online mode. Then for the paid version, that actually uses custom API endpoints and a lot of logic on the Magento side. So there's a POS module for that you install in Magento. The POS recognizes that and then prompts you for a license key, which you can buy from our website. Then you get the full orchestration to literally create a whole fleet of POSs in different countries, different locations, as many registers per location without any additional cost. You just pay a flat fee per terminal without extra cost for locations, or whether you're using a second screen or whatever. It's just a flat fee. That supports offline mode, so that has a queuing system that's quite clever. If your Magento store is down and you have 100 registers that then want to catch up when Magento comes back online, it uses random intervals and delays to try to sync to Magento again, and it backs off if it fails to reconnect, so your Magento store doesn't get hammered. So granular roles, you can set up different user roles as much as you want with different permissions. Can a cashier apply discount, or do they need permission from a manager? Really granular. The customer-facing display on the iPad, the RMA features, gift cards, store credit, loyalty. So that's all those bridges that I spoke about. Those are powered by this POS module. Tracking carriers that are being synced from Magento. So if you want to deal with creating shipments or just printing package labels, if you're sending products from your store physically, you can just pack them up, get the picking the picking print, put it in a box, print a label, and then send it from the store. So you can do real order fulfillment from store. Pick up in store, so if online they select your store location to pick up, you can fulfill them in store. And we're working on fiscal compliance for France, Germany, Italy, and Austria. I was told Belgium was a requirement as well last week, but I checked, but that's only for restaurants and cafes and bars. So for retail, there's no fiscal compliance in Belgium. Then we're working on some experimental stuff. So we can't say when this will be completed and what it will exactly look like. But when we're shipping the pilot, they have an experimental toggle for these 3 features. So one is a self-checkout, which just only offers pay by terminal and barcode scanning. And there's also granular control there, whether people can log in on the iPad, then they send an email with a one-time password so they can log into their account and use their store credit and gain credit. Shipping from the POS is an experimental feature. And we're looking into layaway, what the best way is to do that, especially how to. So that's when someone puts a pre-order and they pay 10% down. And then when it gets back in stock, you call the customer, they pick it up, and then they pay the rest of the 90% of the checkout fee. So that's also, that was highly requested for the pilot. So we worked on getting most of the pre-work done for that. In terms of terminals, I already said we have Molly support at this stage, and we're starting to work on the other terminal providers. If you are with a payment service provider, contact us to talk about how we can support your terminals, please. So pricing, free is free. The Pro version is 50 per month. Fiscal signing will roughly, we don't know exactly yet, but it should be in the range between 15 and 20 euros per terminal. And that that's purely the price for the external fiscal signing from Fiscally. That's an API. All of your receipts are directly synced to Fiscally, so that fulfills the legal requirement for safely registering all of your sales in kind of a blockchain. And all of your receipts are chained and verified. And if the tax office ever comes in to check your fiscal data, you can just run an export at any time, and that would be fully compliant. In all countries except for France, it should be quite straightforward to get approval for the fiscal signing. In France, we'll need to go through a full certification process, and we don't know how long that will take exactly, but I'm hopeful we would finish that before the end of this year. Let's see. And then in Hyvä Commerce and Enterprise will include 2 Pro licenses, so you have 2 terminals that you get with Commerce and Enterprise to use the Pro version. Timing, planning, so a bit later than promised, but I can tell you wouldn't have wanted to work with the version of 2 months ago, because we worked on many improvements that just meant it wasn't ready for the pilot yet. we feel really confident now that we can start rolling it out and handing it to our pilot subscribers and our partners. We've had partners sign up for our pilot, which we'll contact this week as well as the pilot submitters. And then someone next week will also probably unlock it for our gold and platinum partners. We'll give you access. We'll need a bit of data of you, which developer needs to get access so we can add them to Test Pilot, which Apple uses to download apps that have not been launched yet in the App Store. So we're expecting to roll it out further within 2 or 3 months. It really will depend on how the pilot phase will go and what feedback our partners give us. So the more feedback and the better feedback we get from partners, the sooner this whole process will go. So that's all about POS. But we're not done talking about apps yet. Because what got me into building the POS was actually building something else that has been pretty much ready to release for quite some time, which I've been using heavily every day as a merchant myself. And that is Hyvä Pocket. And Hyvä Pocket is also an Apple native app which runs on iPhone, works beautifully on iPad and even on the Mac, even though that's iPad for Mac, so it's not the greatest interface, but it does work. And what Hyvä Pocket does is just give you insights into your Magento dashboard. It doesn't write anything, it's read only, but it gives you a lot of insights to just quickly look up how your store is doing. It has a great dashboard which you can configure. You can set target revenue or revenue targets for every month, so you can check your progress, how far you have processed towards your monthly goal. You can see all of your revenue over the past 12 months and compare it with last year. Don't mind if you go to the next slide, Becky. So the dashboard is configurable. It gives you insights into in many different areas. You can see your day totals, the amount of refunds that you've had, the amount of invoiced and uninvoiced, the amount of products, the best running products of this month or over the past year. You can search by any custom range and get valuable data out of there. You get notifications for new orders if you enable that. You also get notifications for Hyvä updates if you enable that. You can see your latest orders, look into the details, then click through to the customer, and from a customer view other orders and view the shipping information. We've even built in a full Molly dashboard where you can see all the transactions, because there's nothing more annoying going from the Magento admin to look up why your payment failed and then go to your Molly dashboard and then look up there that it was a fraud check that failed. Now you can see all of that right from this one app. And if you look at Molly transactions, you can also click through there. You can see chargebacks and go from a chargeback to the original order. Like, everything is interconnected, and it's a great experience just to be able to click through it quickly. You can view your customer data, as I said. You can view product information. All just for quick lookups. The global search function is really nice. It looks same as Magento. It looks for customer order and product information. So there's a global search, and you can connect to as many stores as you want just from one app. Quickly switch between them, and then you can see quickly the iPad preview. Which is of course a bit wider, different layout. As you see, this was kind of the starting reference for building the POS, this layout. You can also see the Apple Watch previews. You can just, at any time, there's a privacy function, so not everyone looking at your watch will see what your daily revenue was. You need to tap it to see the numbers, but then at any time you can see how your sales are doing today, which is, and for me, I'm kind of addicted to that. And the good news is that this is entirely free. It has been released today. you can scan the QR code or just search for Hyvä Pocket in the App Store, and you can download it to your Mac or your iPad or your iPhone. And just start enjoying keeping track of your Magento store from your pocket.
I can confirm it is, as Willem said, quite addictive and fun to use. So I definitely recommend downloading. We've covered absolutely loads today. But before we jump too quickly into the Q&A, I know that we are over a little bit on predicted time. But I just want to quickly talk about collaborating more with all of you. Because, we want to create a specific space for more product conversations. So our idea for this, John's idea for this, is to run regular partner product sessions where we can share early product previews with you, we can share updates and create that space where you can give us your feedback and insights whilst we're still shaping the products. These sessions are going to help us share context with you a little bit earlier, allow you to ask questions, see what's coming and give input. They are going to be open to our silver, gold and platinum partners, along with a few select tech partners as well, so that we can keep those conversations focused and useful. But we are also going to be sending out a digest from those sessions, so like a recap to all partners as well with the key takeaways. Because we're really keen on building a better feedback loop with you. But we also do want to be super clear that we love all community feedback and it's welcomed and encouraged, whether you're an agency partner, tech partner, just a developer working with Hyvä by themselves, a merchant, or any way that you're working with Hyvä. Your opinions do really matter to us and your experience matters to us. We want to hear what's working, what's missing, what could be simpler or faster. So you'll get more visibility from us. We would like more input from you, more communication, and even better products to come out of it because of that. And speaking of communication, we do now have time for the Q&A. The first thing I'd actually like to cover is our release cadence, because obviously Solstice is the first of its kind. But what is Solstice? So John, I don't know if you wanted to provide a little bit more clarification about what we're doing and what we're planning going forwards.
Yeah, sure. The plan is to share these larger updates in a kind of clearer, more structured way. Hopefully that's come across today. So they're a bit easier to follow, easier to share, and most importantly, probably easier to plan around. Given this is the first one, it's hard to set like a firm timeline or schedule right now. But our thinking is that these will probably be every 3 to 4 months, so seasonal type releases. That'll give us enough time to collect enough meaningful product updates, and obviously we'll have those more regular sessions on the product side in between. It's not replacing the smaller stuff, so any security releases, bug fixes or smaller updates will still happen outside. And once we've got a better feel for the cadence, what we'd really like to do is have a kind of a calendar, if you like, or a schedule on our website that gives you a rough indication. It's not going to be exact dates, but next seasonal release is planned for a particular month or time of the year. That's the overall plan.
Bro, thank you. Okay, so we did have some pre-set questions. So whilst the questions are coming in the chat, I'm going to ask a couple of the questions that we maybe didn't cover that I got sent to me very kindly from people. We had a question from Ilaria from Nomination, and she asked, are there any plans for automatic alt text generation for images? So for example, describing what's shown in an image whilst also taking accessibility guidelines and best practices into account.
So I can cover that. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, AI content generation is something we're working on for Hyvä CMS. The wider scope is still to be fully finalised, but I'm sure it's something that will come up in discussion. We've definitely already planned generating text content and image content, so kind of combining the two together makes a lot of sense. So watch this space.
And another question we had was from Davide from Advanced Logic about performance and core web vitals. He asked whether we can share any practical comparisons on how Hyvä Commerce code and components, for example on a standard homepage, create cleaner and more optimized outputs compared to that with a standard page builder component.
So I don't know if we have any case studies that are that technical right now on this topic, but yeah, definitely we can look to provide some and do something. But yeah, just from obviously working closely with what we've released, we do have less markup, there's less JavaScript, there's less CLS issues, so we should definitely be able to provide a very compelling case on the performance side as to why Hyvä CMS is a better alternative to Page Builder, as well as all the obvious kind of editor improvements.
Yeah, we had lengthy architectural discussions about this, keeping the code as clean as possible, having Page Builder as the example how you would not want to have it. So no unnecessary containers just for styling. And I believe even a parent container can be disabled, which could have some side effects. Now. Yeah, by default now even. Yeah, so we adapted to that. And the best thing is your structural HTML is separated from your data, so you can actually tweak it. With Page Builder, you get the HTML and that is your output. Your output is in the database. And with Hyvä CMS, you can actually tweak it and tune it, and it's good out of the box, but you can work on it yourself as well if there's anything you want to improve or change on it.
Thank you. And then we had another question from Jeroen from PHP Pro about the longer term direction for Hyvä. He asked, how do we see Hyvä developing over the next 2 to 3 years, especially with everything happening around Adobe, the wider commerce market, and the growing interest in AI from customers?
Well, the AI wave is an interesting one that we found ourselves surfing. We suddenly found out, well, AI was a bit scary at first, and it's like, what is it gonna mean for us as an industry? And we were slowly coming to the realization that this is actually one of the strongest cards. Like, we've been dealt a good hand. It was one of the things I said last week at Magento Paris. Suddenly, code ownership, which already had its benefits, just became a lot cheaper. The cost of ownership is drastically going down to own a Magento store, because AI is really bringing down development costs, especially for debugging and bug fixing. So you're getting a lot more features for your budget. So where Magento is already competitive against SaaS, if you look at what your monthly cost is because you're paying so many commissions, especially with a lot of subscriptions, Magento is actually getting the upper hand on a cost of ownership, and then with ownership of the stuff that you're building and investing into. So Adobe or not, like, we still feel really confident. Everything that Adobe is releasing is still built on Magento as a platform. So the new SaaS offering is pretty much Magento in a black box with external APIs attached to it. It is the API, the PHP application running on that server, which still drives Adobe Commerce on-premise and cloud and SaaS. So Adobe's actively building products on it, which means they're going to support this for years to come. Of course, that doesn't make it a sexy product. Like, that's up to us. As an ecosystem, as us, as Hyvä, and any of our competitors or our partners, we are building the flashy new stuff for Magento, and Adobe's keeping it up to date. And they work pretty well with the community right now, accepting contributions and everything. They're not unwilling, they're just not building the new features for Magento that's going into their own stack. We feel pretty good about this. Like, we have a system that's healthy, it's developing, and we can serve the 1 to 100 million GMV market extremely well with this platform. We are quite positive.
Thank you. I think that's a really good answer. So I think every other question that I had sent in to me, I'm pretty sure we covered in the main session. If you do want any further clarification on anything that you asked that you don't think was covered, ping it in the chat or come and find us in the Slack afterwards. But yes, I think it was really nice to see that we actually already had parity with a lot of the questions that we had coming in. We were planning to cover them already. So just to cover some of the questions that I can see popping up in the chat. The first one that I saw was, what about Android support for Hyvä Pocket?
So, yeah. I'm an Apple ecosystem guy. I just like the fact that it always works, which is not per se meant as a diss, but I guess it kind of is. There's no one Android device. You know, you're supporting a very wide range of devices when you step into Android territory. It's just, to be honest, it's not something that I am personally very familiar with, and we would need extra people that are Android developers in our team, which would only be a step we would take if we grow. So if POS takes off and becomes a big thing, you help us build out our team and hire Android developers, and then it might actually happen. So the work the work is up to you first.
The next question I saw from the Smiling Banana. Do we need to upgrade to the latest Hyvä Commerce version to get the page builder email added to Magento?
So I'm assuming this is around the email templates for Hyvä CMS. So that isn't released today. So out of the beta stuff, only Magewire Checkout is available right now. The rest of it's coming in the next week or two. But you won't need, you'll want the latest version that we've released today as a base. But you'll be able to install the Hyvä CMS email templates package in beta separately on top.
Yeah, and feel free to use our Slack, hyvä.io/Slack to join our Slack. Then find the Hyvä CMS channel and then post your question there. Like, tell us which version you're currently on, so the team can help you understand what an upgrade would look like. Maybe you're expecting that to be painful and it would not. We typically are very, very conscious about backward compatibility, so I'd expect you to be able to upgrade quickly. But yeah, again, the team will be able to tell you whether email templates would work. Probably there's a hard dependency in the CMS to make email work, so you'll have to be in the latest version. But ask our developers on Slack, and they'll be very happy to give you tailored advice.
Thank you. And then the next question we have from Christopher is, are there any plans to introduce a Hyvä certification path for non-developer roles such as product owners, project managers, or Magento admins? And how do I get a Hyvä hat and t-shirt?
Okay, let's start with the last one. Come see us at events. We typically have swag with us at events. If you are already certified, always ping someone from the team that you're coming to the event and you would like to have a certification t-shirt, because someone will bring it in your size. Sometimes we're bringing a stack. Other times, if we need to travel light, we'll bring it specially for you. So let us know if you're certified and you want to have a t-shirt. Now, if you've done a lot of contributions to Hyvä and you would like a hat, ping us before you come to an event and we'll bring you a nice hat. Certification-wise, there's more work we need to do on the certification side, including updating the existing certifications because they're still based on previous team version. So you'll get questions about the previous version of Tailwind, which of course isn't great, but you have to understand that creating a certification and changing the test is a real effort. So we can't just tell web assessor change this one question and or just update it. We need to go through a process. So we want to update the existing certifications, and we also want to add Hyvä Checkout certification and a business practitioner certification. So we definitely want to extend the range, and that will also hook into the partner program, so you can show that you have consultants in-house that can help merchants use our tools in the right way and help merchants succeed with their Magento and Hyvä store. So there's no timeline on that, but I think internally we've said that before the end of the year we want to give this a big push and then get new certifications live.
And then tomorrow is the Hack AI-thon in Arnhem, obviously, which a lot of our team are going to. It's a very exciting event. Sander unfortunately can't attend, but he's asked if tips and tricks will be shared afterwards so that all Hoover developers can benefit from them. I'll probably take that one if that's okay. Obviously, we have a lot of our team members going there. There'll be a lot of insights shared, and no doubt what they bring back and what they learn from that event will be shared, be that on socials or in a blog. Yes, we would definitely be sharing any insights that are learned by the team or shared by the team during that event, for definite. But the best way to get it is hands-on and to go to the event, or to come and see us at events as well. So
too
yeah,
late now.
It's too late now. You can't go. So
yeah.
But future events
yeah,
like
we'll
this will
try.
happen.
Our colleagues have by now read it. Probably, I'll ask if we can, if they have time to do a write-up of the things that have been discussed. Let's see if we can manage it, and I'm pretty sure they will. There was one more question about security.
Yes, so that's the last one that I was going to get to is, does Hoover
Try to
have...
pronounce it. Who is
or
it?
plan... It's the Hoppy Doppy. Hoppy Dopey?
Hoppy Dopey.
So the Hoppy Dopey has asked, does Hoover have or plan to develop its own independent security lifecycle and advisory process, or should merchants primarily rely on Magento's security patching schedule and keep Hoover updated?
I think Adobe does this really well. They have a bug bounty program, and if anything, they put a lot of resources towards security, and that's amazing. We should be thankful and appreciative of that. We have an internal security officer who is busier than ever, thanks to AI. Just to keep up with all the news and just, patching our own systems, but also doing a lot of checks on our own products. We spend a lot of time on that, and we take any security report that we receive very seriously. When they are serious, we get a lot of AI slop that people just randomly send us non-existing. Well, you all get spam. Just imagine what it looks like for security reports. A lot of them are low quality, but there are definitely high quality reports that we really appreciate, and we work with people to resolve any issues that we might encounter. And it's not for nothing that we have an internal security officer, so we take it really seriously. As I feel is our responsibility. So keep up to date with Magento patches, always. And if you hear from us that we have a security patch release, take it seriously, and you can be assured that we'll help you patch in the most efficient and cheapest and fastest way to do that, separate from product releases. So we'll take that very seriously.
Brill. Thank you. I think that was all the questions that I could find in the chat and elsewhere, and we are at the end of our time. As said on screen, thank you very, very much for being here. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for all your feedback and reports and ideas and demos and Slack threads and all of the energy that you bring into our ecosystem and into our community. Obviously, Hoover is shaped by the people around it, and we are extremely grateful and appreciative of it. If you feel that your question wasn't answered today, or if there's anything else that you think of after you've come away from this session, do ping us in Slack, message me, message any of us, and we'll be more than happy to either point you to the right person or answer your question or open a discussion around anything. We're always keen to talk. We will be sharing this session and further release updates after this. So all of the demo recordings, all supporting materials, you can find these slides, we'll be sharing those. And that's it from me. Thank you again for spending part of your day with us. We really do appreciate it. And thank you for being part of the Hoover community. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks all.